Okay, so today we are focusing on falls and the balancing act it can take to prevent them. Falls can be really dangerous for anyone, but especially older adults. So the question is, how can you tell if you know someone perhaps who might need some extra special care? Dr. Frank McGeorge is here to talk about and also demonstrate 2 simple tests that you can do at home, which is really important because I think a lot of people don't realize how much at risk they are.
That's exactly it, Karen. You know, as people get older, it means you have a natural loss of strength, mobility, and balance. But before I describe the tests, I want to be clear. You should do them with someone that can help you if you don't do well, since, of course, we don't want you to fall while you are testing your risk for a fall.
Okay, so you have the first test. What's that about?
Yeah, so this first test is basically a simple test to tell whether your balance puts you at an increased risk of falling. It's officially called the single leg stance test, and it basically tests whether you can stand without assistance on one leg for at least 10 seconds, and you can use whichever leg is easiest for you. So the timer is up, obviously, and it's as simple as this. You go ahead and stand for 10 seconds on one leg, and some people say it should be done with your hands on your hips.
Okay.
Some people say you can use your arms to help you balance. But either way, if you can't balance on one leg for 10 seconds at least, you are at a higher risk for a fall.
Now, you said there's another test you wanted to show as well. But again, make sure someone's in the house for this one.
An important point always, absolutely. So this next test is a combination of strength, mobility, and to a lesser extent, balance. It's called the tug test, which stands for timed up and go. All you need is a chair, 10 feet of walking space, and a timer. So let's go ahead and have the stopwatch ready and go ahead and start it. You start out sitting, and then without assistance, you stand up, walk 10 feet, turn around, walk back to the chair, and then sit down again. You shouldn't rush, but if this takes you more than 14 seconds, you are considered at an increased risk for a fall. Now, I should point out, though, as we age, our ability to do either the balance on one leg test or the tug test is naturally going to get worse, but of course, that's part of the point. As we age, our risk for a fall naturally goes up. These tests can basically help tell you how close you are getting to that point.
Okay, so let's say you have a loved one, aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa, mom, dad, and you think, okay, they could be at risk. What are you supposed to do, or what's the next step?
Yeah, well, that's really probably the most important thing. This is really meant to be a red flag that the person needs to pay attention to the risk of falls. Doing poorly on either of these tests really indicates that there's a problem with your balance, your strength, or your mobility. Now, if you do identify a problem, you should talk with your doctor. Sometimes there might be a need for an assistive device like a walker, for example, or your doctor might recommend specific exercises or maybe even evaluation by a physical therapist. Either way, the hope is that this is going to help you get ahead of the problem.
I know personally my mom had 2 big falls and that really did a setback, and I didn't realize she was at risk. So this happens a lot.